a monster.
I'm your number one fan.
Now clear your minds. You know what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
It's been informed that zombies have entered the building. They're at the door. They're coming in.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm your host as always, Corey, and alongside me is my good pal Tony. What's going on, brother? How you been?
I'm good, brother. How you been?
I'm good.
How's life treating you?
It's treating me pretty good. Pretty good.
Well,
yeah. Work's going good. I'm enjoying this new job. It's pretty steady.
yeah.
Steady.
You seem like you just talking to you a little bit. You seem like you've been acclimated pretty fast to the new gig. So that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Less stress, the better.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just been kind of this is my second day on the job, and it's actually been kind of a little slow. Not too bad.
Because of the holiday, because the holidays and everything.
Yeah, I think we're not even going to work Memorial Day next weekend or next weekend next year.
Yeah.
Just because the work just wasn't there. So.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy because, I'm technically in the freight industry now, and it was slow, which is weird to say that the freight industry was a little slow.
Well, me working in a warehouse where we handle freight a lot, I can tell you that it is really slow right now. So, yeah, I'm having that trouble right now.
Well, the good thing is you ship the product, but we work on everything. So
yeah, the trailers. Yeah, I wonder if you guys work on trailers we get.
Do you guys have refrigeration trucks?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, the only other thing that we would possibly work on is if you guys have like lift gates.
No, we don't
and
have
you guys.
Those.
Yeah, if you guys had lift gates and you guys need to work on it or whatever, you guys would bring them to us. Yeah,
sometimes we get the refrigerated trailers to the depot, but it's only when they pass out the turkeys, when they do the turkeys for Christmas and everything at work. That's the only time I ever see. They're really cool though, man. They're really, really, really cool. Literally. Yeah, the refrigeration on those trailers is impeccable. It's amazing in there. It's like a meat locker.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So you doing that kind of stuff? That's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm working on the refrigeration of those, and then I'll be also welding the lift gates onto the actual trailers themselves and stuff. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty interesting line of work.
Hell yeah, man! Completely new.
It is.
Completely new. I know it's going to take an adjustment period, but you sound like you're adjusting pretty well so far. Only 2 days on, so
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But life's been good. Everything's been good. I watched this episode, not this episode, this film for this review. So, folks, we're doing another Roulette episode. Ooh.
Yes, double whammy. We've done 2.
Double whammy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, starting off with a bang.
Yeah. But before we get into it, Tony, you said you wanted to give out a disclaimer on your film.
Right. Yeah. So my film. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
My film is going to be a little tough to talk about tonight without spoiling it. So when I do get into my discussion on mine, I'm definitely going to throw out a disclaimer for spoilers. So if I give the title out, tell you what year it came out, no one's seen it before, and they're kind of interested in checking it out, then I would definitely, right before I start, I would definitely cut it short, check out the movie if you want to, then come back and hear the discussion on it. I don't know, Corey, you might have seen this one that I watched too. You might have checked it out before, so that's why it's always fun doing the Roulette episode on the slasher series, because we hide it from each other, so we don't know what we bring to the table when we start reviewing our said movie. So I don't know if I've seen yours. You don't know if you've seen mine. It makes it interesting and makes it kind of fun. So it's a little different from our, you know, our normal critique, how we normally do it, you know, where we both know what we're getting into. We both kind of discuss it one-on-one. So, or, you know, both of us jump in and kind of like talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything like that. But this is going to be different because, like I said, don't know what you're bringing to the table. I know you don't know what I'm bringing to the table. We're trying to steer clear of each other's letterboxes and stuff right now while we're doing this. It's kind of tough, just because I get on there all the time and check out a lot of people on there. I try to follow a lot of the aside from our buddies, I try to, you know, follow a lot of people that just stick mainly to horror. That way I can get some good recommendations and some, you know, some interesting films out there that I'm kind of curious about. I'll see if anyone else has seen it, whether they like it, recommend it. It's a lot of people when you get on there, a lot of people have a lot of the similar taste. And, you know, when you see somebody on there that really has the same kind of taste that you do, you kind of gravitate to what they recommend and what they're watching. So I've been doing that. Oh, I did go to Walmart. Just wanted to throw this out there. And I've been on a kick about watching the VHS series. I saw the first one, the second one. I saw that one this past weekend. And then I noticed when I was at Walmart, they had VHS 94. And yeah, I grabbed it as soon as I saw it because I wanted to add it to the collection to kind of, you know, I'm a completionist. I have to add it to the collection but I did check it out and it's thoroughly entertaining. Great shorts on that one. Really, really good little anthology. One story in particular, the first story in the segment, has a really cool creature that I hope they turn into a full-length feature film. That would be really, really badass. Because the creature itself is just so fucking cool looking. But yeah, I did check that out. That was aside from like the slasher movies I've seen, starting to kick off the summer slasher series, and I watched that, and then I popped in both the Hostel movies and checked those out because it's been a while since I've seen those, and I wanted to, you know, check them out, see them again, and see what, you know, see what I thought about them with a more critiquing eye. So I popped those in, checked them out. But other than that, man, on board with the slashers. I've been watching slashers lately. Just watched Hatchet too, not too long ago, so that was fun. Always enjoy Hatchet. So
it's always good.
but yeah, I don't know. I got on a tangent, but yeah, just full disclaimer: when I get into mine, I'm probably going to be spoiling it. So if the listeners out there, you know, if they haven't seen my movie, when I give the title and stuff like that, definitely, if you're interested in checking it out, stop the review and come back to us when you checked it out. And maybe we'll discuss it. Maybe we'll be on the same page. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But thank you, man. Thanks for letting me get that out there. So I don't want to. I like, you know, we and you were kind of talking about when we do the roulette episodes. Do we really go into spoiler territory or not? Do we kind of? And it's kind of hard sometimes when we're doing roulette episodes. I mean, we'll give, you know, I'll try to give the basic plot, but you know, with a film like I have tonight, and I'm going to reference another film because of this film. So as soon as I do that, a lot of people will probably understand what, you know, what's going on in this one. So that's why I'm just throwing it out there. I'm probably going to be spoiling this one. So,
well, folks, you won't have anything to worry about because I'm not going to spoil mine too much because I don't know. I just couldn't get into it.
Oh boy!
You know I got to watch those weird ass obscure films for these reviews.
I do too. I especially I didn't do that much last year when we did the summer slasher series. I didn't really do that. This year I kind of started out just doing that with the 2 roulette episodes. I wanted to pull out some movies that are, you know, more obscure and not too many people talk about and not too many people even know about. So that's why I did Blood Widow last time, and now I'm doing this one. So yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing.
Well, do you want to go first? Or you want me to?
Oh, it's up to you, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't care. Whichever.
completely fine with me if you go first.
Okay, I can go ahead and knock it out.
Yeah, I want to know what your I want to know. I'm
All right,
impatient.
so I watched a film from 1988, and
Ooh,
it's on Tubi,
retro film. Huh?
called Party Line.
Ooh,
Have you seen this?
party line. I don't think I have.
Really? Ooh,
I think is this the one Vinegar? I think Vinegar Syndrome put out a Blu-ray of this.
I think so. Yes,
Okay,
I'm
that's one
pretty
I don't.
sure. Yeah. So basically, right away, you find out who your killer is. It's no big secret. This honestly, I going into it, thinking this was a full-on slasher, not so sure that it was a true slasher. Um, it was the feel that I got from this film was more of a American Giallo, if you will. It was
Ooh,
very murder mystery, but you knew who the killer was, if that
yeah,
makes any sense.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you,
yeah.
you never like there was no mystery as far as um you as an audience member trying to guess who the killer was or anything like that. Um, but I mean, they're there again. When you watch like Friday the 13th, you know Jason Voorhees is the killer. Well, in this case, it's I think a young man by the name of Sebastian who's the killer in this film. I think no, Seth, maybe Seth. Well, yeah, I think it's Seth. But um, so there's a murder mystery happening where basically slit throat happens with a razor. Um, well, come to
Classic.
find out, there's this basically phone sex hotline where you call into it. It's called Party Line, and you call into it, and you're talking amongst a bunch of people. It's like a giant chat room, but you're on a call with multiple people, and
Hmm.
so it's almost like a like a kind of like a vintage Craigslist where you could just oh, you want to meet here? Yeah, we'll meet here and then we'll hook up, or Tinder for that matter. So basically, um, what this guy Seth does, him and his sister actually get on this phone sex hotline, Party Line, and they basically just find their victims this way.
Hmm.
And they meet up with them, and then they kill them. And usually it's the female who's coming on to a guy, and then the brother will walk in and kill him. But the relationship between the brother and sister is just fucking weird. Like I like within the first like few minutes, probably within 30 minutes, I think I wrote down my first note, and I was just like, incest question mark.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, because
Got a
it's
little,
like, I
got a
mean,
little
yeah.
raunchy.
So, and well, the thing is they're rich brother and sister. They live in this mansion together, and you never see their parents. So I'm guessing their parents are dead. Um,
Hmm.
but like at times he's like, "Oh, Dad will never approve." But when you first like the first kill that you actually see is the first few minutes of the film, and you see the sister, and she's like instantly topless. She's going to pound town with this guy in her bed. And then the brother, who you don't know is her brother at the time, he walks in and he's like, "Are we having fun?" And it's like, "Oh shit, husband just caught the wife, what's going on?" And you're thinking that she's a cheating wife and that's the husband, and he sits down like in a recline or like in a chair beside the bed, and he's like, "Are you having a good time?" And it's like, and I think even the guy got mixed feelings, like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize she was married and stuff like that." And then he refers to her as his sister, and it's like, "Oh, this is just fucking weird now."
Mhm.
And then like yeah, so then pretty much like he kills that guy instantly, and the sister's like okay with this. Well, then at some point you see the guy Seth end up dressing up like his mom and then his sister comes in, starts abusing him and shit. And I mean, it's just fucking weird. You can tell this is a fucked up family. I mean, really, really messed up. So, but there's a whole scene, like there's a whole like detectives are actually involved, and they're trying to crack down and stuff on the brother and sister who are they're killers, you know. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, there's like I don't know if he was a drug cartel or a pimp or something. There's a guy Gonzalez, but it's weird. On IMDb has no recognition of Gonzalez, the character Gonzalez, but he's mentioned a couple times. He's like a bad guy. He's like, I don't know if he's a mob boss or what. They really didn't spend too much time on his character. I know the police were after him at one point, the cops. So it was almost like they were trying to solve him and the murder mystery at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, long story short, the detective that gets involved, he's I lost the train of thought. But yeah, so the detective, he ends up losing his wife, who's a cop and everything. And again, it's to these people. He's speeding in his Ferrari, Seth, the killer, and the cop pulls him over, and it's the detective's wife at the time. So he's kind of got he wants some answers, and I think he ends up getting pulled from the case and everything, but still works the case along with another fellow detective who basically is like dating the district attorney or something. He's some higher up guy, you know. I don't know, but it was all confusing. There's so many different detectives and shit like that. I really wish they would have made it a little more simpler, you know, so you could just follow it a little bit better. But it was just like, okay, now who's this guy? Okay, he just punched this guy in the face. What's going on? Why is he turning his badge in? Just so much was happening in that little sequence. It was insane. One of the things that I did love is I pointed out something. I did find something. So the scene where Gonzalez is at the bar. So Gonzalez goes to the bar to meet up with Seth's sister, right? He goes there to meet her, and as he walks in, he passes by this guy, and I noticed this guy's hair is like fucking weird looking. Of course, it's the 80s, so his hair is odd looking. Plus, he's got like, you know, the eyeshadow on and stuff like that, right? So you notice him standing there, and then next thing you know, it's a cut scene where Gonzalez is at the bar. Well, guess who's standing next to him? That same fucking guy by the door, right? Yeah. So then as they go to leave, guess who's still by the fucking door? The guy at the bar. Like, it's like this guy was just fucking moving all over the place. One of the scenes, so that club scene, I really love that club scene because it's 80s cheese music, right? And it's playing. Everyone in this fucking club was dancing like Elaine from Seinfeld. It's just so fucking odd. At one point, I lost it. I cracked up at this one scene, and it was probably my favorite. It was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. But there's a scene where they were having some argument or whatever, and they referred to this homeless guy as a fucking bum, and he was like, "Hey, I'm not a bum. I'm homeless."
Get your shit straight.
Yeah, I was like,
calling me a bum is demeaning.
Yeah. Oh man, I was fucking cracking up. I had a good laugh. I will say that there was a lot of scenes that had me kind of fucking laughing. There is an uncomfortable scene though, because there's this there's these two rather young women who call into Party Line, and they're talking dirty to these guys and stuff like that. I think one of them they both look really underage, like super underage. Yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable. But there is one scene where she was like, "You're gonna go through with it," and the other girl was like, "Well, I am 17." So, but there was a scene where they were basically babysitters, and this guy, I think his name was Simmons, and he basically goes to take him home, and he's like, "Oh, I'll take her home. It's just down the road." And she's like, "No, I can walk, honestly." And he was like, "No, I insist. I'll just take you home." Gets her there, like in the driveway, and then starts putting moves on her, and it's like, dude, that's so fucking uncomfortable. Yeah, it's fucking creepy. Like,
Well, out of context, I was going to say this movie sounds right up my alley, based on the fact that based on the fact that you said, "Oh, it's like an American Giallo."
I
And
mean,
involves, like,
it feels that way with the kind of investigation that happens.
yeah. Well, you said it also takes place, and well, of course, the film was shot in what, 88, so it's got that late 80s aesthetic.
Yeah,
Which
and
I
and
like, because a lot of movies,
I believe it takes
at that
place in
time,
California. So
right? A lot of movies at that time, because hotlines were really popular at that time, so a lot of horror films kind of took that up. I think another favorite of mine is 976 Evil, and they kind
mhm.
of used that same thing too. And I think it came out in '88 as well. So that was like right at that fine time where hotlines were really popular. People were really calling in, using them a lot. So they kind of jumped on board with that and incorporated that into more horror films, which I really, really dig.
Yeah, 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 and that's one thing that they did. They even, like, the detectives ended up utilizing the hotline
Yeah.
to essentially catch them.
Mm.
And once the sister caught on to like shit was about to hit the fan, she was trying to leave town pretty fast, and then and the brother caught wind, and they ended up becoming to each other's demise essentially. Um, but there was one scene where the sister slaps the brother like in the face, and she wasn't acting. Like, the guy had a full-fledged handprint on his face. I mean, I was literally like, she just slapped the fuck out of him. Like, I mean, because I mean, it knocked him down to the ground. Like, that wasn't acting.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Overall, this film, I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't. Uh, I had fun with it, but I wasn't amazed by it. The cinematography was okay. The editing was poor.
That's
The
unfortunate.
yeah, the editing is what did it. There really wasn't a lot of gore. Just basically people getting their throats slit.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I figured.
I can't definitively call this a slasher. I went into it feeling that this was a slasher, and then it just wasn't. I think it was more of a thrill ride than anything, or I
Yeah.
guess it would be falling under thriller category.
So the body
Uh,
count sounded like it was quite. It was there. It was high or anything.
oh gosh, maybe 5 or 6 bodies.
Wow, it's more than I thought.
Yeah, because Gonzalez gets it in the car. Everyone gets their throat slit, pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
like I said, it's more of like your serial killer. I'm guessing that that's what that would be, but like, again, they were killing out of like their parents feeling the disgust of these people, I guess you would say. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's
Kind of
like in their mind they were almost doing something a little righteous.
right. Okay. That's what I. Well, when you were giving
Because
me kind of the basic premise, because this is a film I admit I have not seen. So when you were kind of talking about it, I was wondering if they were like taking that self-righteous kind of attitude to their killings and were
yeah.
doing it for greater good or something like that. That they felt that they were morally, um, their morals were higher than other people's, and that whoever they seemed that they didn't deem that was suitable, or they were, well, I mean, then again, based on the way they act around each other and the taboo.
Well, I think deep down inside the brother and sister wanted more than just what they already had as a relationship, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to act upon it because that would be the wrong thing, right? Because in their parents' eyes, that would be the wrong thing. Because there was a scene, I didn't cover it. There's a scene where the sister, she's like out working out and stuff, like in the backyard. They got like she's lifting weights and stuff, and then she gets done. She sits down on a bench and she starts putting oil on her body. So she starts like rubbing down into her bikini top. It starts turning herself on. Next thing you know, she's kind of touching herself a little bit, down below. And the brother is like sitting there, like standing in the window, fucking getting turned on by this. Next thing you know, he destroys the house because he's like getting pissed off at himself through his parents' eyes, I guess you would say. Oh, it was fucking weird.
That's funny.
So, folks, if you want to see this movie, it is on Tubi.
Okay. I was going to ask.
It is what it is. There's an uncomfortable scene. There's incest shit going on. There's blood. What more could you ask for?
Blood and incest. What more could you want?
Star rating. I gave this a 2.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely not something I'm gonna watch anytime soon.
That's a shame, man. I was thinking, because I know it's a Vinegar Syndrome release. I was thinking about putting in an order for it, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, watch it first and see what you think. I mean, of course, you probably have all the Vinegar Syndrome so far.
I don't.
Okay.
This is one I don't have. This is one I knew. I like the cover though. The cover's really
That's
nice.
what drew me in. Same as the last one. The last one drew me in the same way.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like I said, I feel that it could be considered slasher, but at the same time, it's not Madman slasher in that sense. Because Madman is, not Madman. What's Frank Zeta?
Maniac.
Maniac. Thank you.
Well, I was going to mention Maniac when you first started talking about it. I was going to mention it. So.
It's like. You almost get that feel kind of like Maniac a little, but it's not in that same aspect.
Yeah, because just one of my favorites of all time, man. It's fucking, to me, it's a masterpiece. I love Maniac. I had such a love for that movie.
Oh yeah,
so
of course, it's a good movie. But yeah, that's it. So Party Line, 1988, 2-star rating.
2.
Yeah. I mean, maybe would have got a 2.5 if the brother and sister went all the way.
Right. Well, are you going to lead the incest and not follow through with it? I mean,
I don't know. It was like they were almost like they both wanted it, but they were both ashamed of it. I don't know. Right. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, the channel.
That's the feeling I got from being an audience member.
I always think that's interesting when a movie takes that approach where they channel like the kids or something. They're grown, but they channel the parents and their mindset and almost possessed by them, and it causes them to act out and turn into killers or this and that. I find that fascinating. That premise, if it's done well. I mean, if it's done piss poor, then but if it's done well and it works, then it works, and it makes for a good
film. Yeah.
So well, all right, man. All right. Well, I guess I'll get on to mine. So my movie is a movie that came out in 2005. So it's not quite retro. It's kind of came out in the early 2000s. So and when I say it came out in the early 2000s, it has that early 2000s feel. I don't know what it is about movies that were shot at this time, even lower budget movies. They all have that feel. But my movie is called Camp Slaughter, and I had this DVD for a while. I watched it when I first bought it, which was years and years ago. So really, I didn't remember a thing about it. So I decided, you know what, let me pick this off the shelf and give it a watch. So, revisiting it was interesting because there's been a movie that came out, and like I said, full spoilers ahead for this one because this is going to be really hard to talk about without getting into spoiler territory. But the interesting thing for me with this film and watching it was at the time, there's a particular movie that came out that almost follows this exact same plot, but it's done much better. It's of course it's more of a higher production, but this is a very, very indie film. It's very, very low budget, and this is not a case. This is not an instance where the cover will draw you in. The cover is very generic looking. It's just like a girl that's kind of in a crouched position with an axe in her hand, and it just says Camp Slaughter on the cover, and it's really boring and really just not, not. It's boring. It's boring as hell. No creativity at all in that cover. But when I popped this in and watched it, I immediately started remembering the plot and how it unfolds, and I was like, oh wow, this is interesting because a movie came out, in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, a movie called The Final Girls, and it's almost got the exact same plot, man. I mean, there's a little couple tweaks here and there that make them different, but it's interesting how that kind of happened. I'm like, this is pretty fascinating stuff. I want to look more into this, and I mean, it's hard to have an original idea, of course, nowadays. I mean, it feels like everything's been done, So when you have a film that has a very unique premise, it elevates the movie, even if like the budget and stuff like that doesn't elevate everything else around it. But basically the plot of this one is we follow four characters they're driving to Maine, from Maine. Something with Maine. They're going to Maine or they're in Maine. And they're just driving through, and I can't remember exactly where they're going. They're just I guess going home from, I think they're going home from like college or something. And so we follow our character, Angela. She has a brother named Vade. I know it's a weird name. And then she has her friend Mario, and then their friend Jen. So there's our four main characters. And basically they're driving along, and something happens at night. They stop on the side of the road. Stuff gets thrown at their vehicle. They're in this big ass Hummer, which is funny because it's like early 2000s. There's a big ass Hummer. I mean, it's just, if you know anything about the early 2000s, Hummers were like really, really popular and people were buying them up. And so the fact that they were in a Hummer looked like a brand new one too. It's crazy that they were able to get this vehicle. This must have been like one of the producers' cars or something like that, because this is a very expensive vehicle for this very, very low budget film.
Was it the yellow or the maroon one?
I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it's just, maybe it was a white Hummer. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Very light colored Hummer,
Okay.
if I'm mistaken. It was yellow. I don't know. Can't remember for some reason. This escaped me. But yeah, so they stop on the side of the road, and then all of a sudden they wake up, and there's like these people around them. They're all dressed in like camp gear, and they all look very, very 80s. Their lingo's 80s, their camp gear's 80s. Everything looks 80s. So automatically you're like, uh-oh, I think I see where they're going with this. So they entered a time warp, and now they're stuck in a summer camp in the 80s where there's a killer picking off the counselors and just the counselors. So you're like, okay, I've seen this premise before. I haven't seen it since I first watched this. Let me reiterate that. There's a movie that came out called The Final Girls that has the almost exact same premise. So I'm like, this is pretty neat. This is pretty interesting. That this came out a whole 10 years before The Final Girls did. But basically, so these characters are and it's funny, the thing that kept cracking me up is if I can remember, they say the 80s counselors are like just amazed by the Hummer, like, because of course they'd never seen the Hummer. This takes place in 81, so they're looking at the Hummer and they keep asking the people, our main characters, if they're from the army base because they think it's a tank. So they're like, yeah, our vehicle's broke down, it's not working, it's not running. And one of the counselors, Ivan, is like, oh well, we can call a tow truck, but I don't know if they'll be able to tow this tank around. It's kind of hard to tow a tank. So they keep like making reference to this car being a tank because they're just not used to it.
That's
So
funny.
I thought that was pretty neat. It kept making me laugh. They kept bringing it up and up and up again. Excuse me. But yeah. So this movie is it's so early 2000s though, man. It's very low budget. It's got all the fallbacks of a low budget movie from the early 2000s. The camera work is really really rough. Editing is super rough. The soundtrack is very generic and kind of forgettable. There's nothing to it. A couple of the characters are interesting, especially one, the character Jen. She was really funny. Like she had me rolling because she was like the one character that was self-aware of where they were, and like she kept bringing up Jason Voorhees and stuff like that. Like, have you guys ever seen a Friday the 13th movie? I think she said that at one point. This movie definitely references Friday the 13th and the franchise multiple times. Even there's kills that are directly ripped off from Friday Part 5. I know one in particular. There's another one from I think Friday Part 6 that they rip off. But it's so funny because there's a lot of callbacks to Friday the 13th franchise. So you can tell the director was a huge fan. And referencing Jason a lot, doing some callback kills, even though we all know Jason wasn't the killer in Part 5. But it's funny because I had to write down. There's one line that Jen says. Well, there's multiple lines that she says, but there's one line that just fucking killed me. When they get to the camp, the counselors are very nice to them. They're sweet to them. They try to get them set up in a cabin and everything like that because they know that they're out of their element. They don't realize that these people are from, they're from the future. Yeah. So just like confused by them, they don't understand their lingo, the way they dress or anything like that. So they're trying to kind of going back and forth with each other, and for some reason, our lead characters are just they're none the wiser about everything. I think what they think is that they're in like a reenactment camp or something like that, where these people are just dressing up like 80s and just living just pretending like it's the 80s to like
a retro weekend.
Yeah, retro weekend or something like that. So they really don't like question it too much at the beginning. They just kind of go along with it, but so they feed our main characters, and one of our main characters, Jen, says, she walks out, she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, I'm so full. She's like, I'm so full, I think my twat is going to explode. And I fucking lost my shit when she said that. Could not believe I heard that. This is so fucking good. Oh, it's incredible. For some reason, there's a lot of like shirtless dudes in this movie, and they like, I don't know what. There's like some weird like subtext here where there's even like a basketball game. It's like it's really like almost homoerotic, if you will. Like it's so strange. There's so many instances of like these lead characters that are guys just taking off their shirts and just parading around. It's so fucking funny. I don't know what the hell was going on there, but there's so many of that going on here. So when they start becoming more self-aware of what's going on around them, and Angela goes to Vade, and she's like, "You realize what's going on? And like something's wrong." And he's just like, "I don't know. I don't think anything's going on. It's just one of those things. I guess they're just doing a reenactment or whatever." She said, "No." She's like, "Look at the calendars. It even says 1981." He's like, "Why the fuck would anyone have their calendars up for 1981? Like, why would anyone do that?" And he said, "I don't know. It's fucking Maine." So he said that, and I was fucking died, dude. It's just the way he said it was so nonchalant about it. But yeah, there's, like I said, I was gonna do a kill count because I told you this this time I'm gonna try to keep track of the kills and throw them out there and let the viewers kind of know how many kills are going to be in the film. But IMDb did it. IMDb did it for me. They counted 37 kills in this movie, which is insane. But they said 37 on-screen kills. So I'm like, oh wow, that's a fucking lot of kills, man. But a lot of the kills are super generic. Like there's a lot of throat trauma, like a lot of throat slits and a lot of like arrow kills, like a bow and arrow. There's the majority of them are from a fucking bow and arrow, to be honest with you.
Wow.
And there's a lot of kills in there's a dream sequence, and I hate dream sequences. I'm not the biggest fan of dream sequences in movies, but there's a dream sequence. One of our lead characters has a dream, and there's a play going on at the camp, and they're all sitting there watching the play, and then they zoom out, and then like the play unfolds, but then one of the characters in the play just starts going fucking crazy and killing everybody. And I'm like, oh, well, this is crazy. So this is our killer. And I was like, oh, wow, they're just going to be blatant about it. But then, no, of course, it's a dream sequence. So there's I want to say there's 7 or 8 kills just in that sequence alone. And it's not a very long sequence either. So, like I said, they fluffed the body count up pretty high for this one. But there's a lot of kills that are just generic and kind of boring. So, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of traumas to the throat. Most of the kills are like throat kills, which is interesting. I guess they only had makeup and stuff for like throats, and that's all they could really afford and do because they don't really get too crazy with the kills. But I don't know, man. There's, like I said, it's an interesting premise and executed like well. This would have been a fucking great film. Would have been a really, really killer movie. But I guess after seeing like Final Girls and knowing the premise of that, and then there's just so much more heart, and there's so much more. Like the characters are so much better in Final Girls, and I'm not trying to compare it directly to Final Girls. I'm not trying to do that because that's not really fair. I mean, Final Girls had a very, very high production, and this one had, man, this movie was probably made for like $15, man. It's really, really. I mean, I'm just being sarcastic. It's a low budget, so it's got to be in the thousands. I mean, there's, like I said, not much to the budget and everything like that, and a lot of the kills show, and the characters aren't really. I mean, there's some funny moments here and there with the characters, but other than that, they're kind of, super generic, and they're not really stand out. Especially our final girl, like our main girl, she's kind of like a boring. Just I don't know. There's not much to her. Jen had a lot more to her than she did. But eventually they find out that hey, the counselors are aware that they're reliving the same night over and over, so they know that they're going to get killed over and over and over again. So they try to enlist our main characters to help them break their situation, and I guess they're cursed. So they're trying to break the curse and have our main characters stop the killer and get this all right, because they're tired of reliving the same night over and over and over again. And they just want to break the cycle, so they're trying to enlist all the help they can get to do that. So our main characters get pulled into the plight to do it, but then there's like a twist ending where we find out that there's multiple killers, and it's kind of surprising who the killers are. And I'm having kind of trouble. I want to say who they are. But people, if want to see this, then you might not want to see it after my rating and this is that. But if it sounds kind of interesting, the premise sounds interesting, and you want to give it a shot, then I suggest you do it if you want to, of course. But I don't know. It's a weird one. This is a weird one. It came out at a really weird time, that really early 2000s when there weren't a lot of slasher movies necessarily. They weren't pumping them out like they have been lately, like from 2010 to now. They've been pumping out slashers left and right. But at that point, at that time, 2005, there wasn't too many. Like a lot of more Scream inspired slasher films. This is like a throwback. I mean, literally. I mean, they go back to 81, and you get like killers in a camp, and that's camp slasher films are some of my favorites. So I was, definitely intrigued with this one going in. But like I said, man, there's a lot of technical problems with this movie, and I hate to hound on it because I know the budget was super small, but the camera work was just rough. There's a lot of sloppy editing in this movie. And like I said, I don't know. The directors went on to do another film called Frat House Massacre, which I think is really, really a decent little flick. So he got progressively better. I know this is one of his first films that he ever did. So he would go on to get better at his craft. Like that movie's much better compared to this one. But it's like I said, we are, a first time director can't start out with a home run and just kill his first film, and it shows. This movie, it shows his budget. Unfortunately, I think it's a little bit more. The problem with it is, I think they're so. What's the word I'm thinking about? They're too ambitious for their budget. Like they wanted to do so much with this premise and this plot, but they could not do it on budget limitations. They just didn't have enough resources, and at that time the director didn't have enough skill to pull this very, very ambitious plot out. Like he just wasn't it wasn't his time to do this. Let's just say that. Not to say this movie's absolutely dreadful. I mean, for its plot, and I mean for its budget and stuff like that, it's watchable. I mean, I will say that it's not a complete shit show. But it could have been done so much better, though. I could see the potential here if they tweak the acting a little bit. They really work on the production value and camera works and shots, and I don't know, man. It's rough. I mean, I watched the DVD, and it's just a rough watch, man. As far as the picture quality, and it's very, very early 2000s. Even for trying to, I mean, they did a pretty decent job making the characters look and even talk like they were straight out of the 80s. They did a pretty decent job doing that. I will give them that. So, but like 37 kills, and not a lot of them had, a lot of there wasn't a lot of standout kills in this, unfortunately. Like I said, I counted out, there was a lot of like throat slits and like arrows in the throat and just shit. People getting choked, and a lot of throat trauma in this movie. But like I said, there's a direct. Oh no, I'm sorry, not Friday the 13th Part 6. Friday the 13th Part 2. There's a direct kill from that movie in this movie where the couple's in bed and they get speared in the bed. And then Friday Part 5, there's a kill where the character has his head wrapped against a tree, and they string up it's not a belt, but it's like a nylon thing, and they twist it with the stick, and it crushes their head. Yeah, that kill's done in this movie too. So, like I said, you can tell the director was a huge fan of Friday the 13th. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's not the worst indie flick I've ever seen. It's far from it. I've seen some really, really bad indie movies. But at the end of the day, I had to give this movie, for all its problems. I mean, there's, like I said, tons of camera work problems, editing problems, acting. I didn't even touch on the acting, but the acting is not the best. There's two lead camp counselors that are pretty decent. That can, I mean, like I said, Jen was great, but she was she wasn't really acting. I mean, she was just more being natural. And I think that was just her personality, to be honest with you. She was a feisty girl, so it's just the way she is in real life. But yeah, there's a twist ending. So if you're interested in checking it out, I don't want to throw that out there, but yeah, at the end of the day, my letterbox rating for this is a 2. I gave it a 2-star. There's just a lot of like technical issues with this movie.
Yeah.
Too many to overcome. And I could tell they really wanted to go big with this premise, but they just couldn't do it.
Yeah. No, same for my film.
Yeah, it's funny you rated yours too. I was like, damn, I rated mine the same.
Well, I mean, yeah, and like you said, it lacks like the editorial, I think that alone shortened the unnecessary films for mine, and yeah, you could probably had a better rating in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to run out and watch this movie again.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I got it. I watched it. I got the premise. I think I'm done. I'd much rather watch his other film, Frat House Massacre. That one's really, really, really decent.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, I think I've seen it once. Yeah, I might have seen it twice. But I like that one a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you look it up on IMDb, it doesn't go under the title Camp Slaughter. It goes under the title Camp Days for some reason. I don't know why. But when I try to log it in IMDb, I put Camp Slaughter and it wouldn't show me anything. I'm like, that's weird.
Might have been just a different release or a different production company.
Definitely was, man. I found it under Camp Days. So if you look at it on IMDb, it will be under Camp Days. So it's got a very boring cover where this. As a matter of fact, it reminds me of the cover from a little obscure Canadian movie called Science Craze. It almost has the exact same cover, where it's just a silhouette in a doorway and there's light behind it, and yeah, it's got a weapon. Just looks very generic. But yeah, that's my movie, Camp Slaughter.
Camp Slaughter.
If you're a slasher purist and you want to see every slasher film there is, I would check it out. But if you have a really, really bad time with indie films and you don't like bad acting, and then I would stay far away from this one. I can tolerate that kind of stuff. I watch it all the time, but I cannot recommend it for people that just want to dip their toes into slasher films, and not the one for you if that's the case.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, so two.
So two for me, two for you.
Yep. Well, that works.
Unfortunately, we don't have glowing reviews of these movies, guys. But like I said, if you're just interested in seeing a bad indie movie, then check this one out. I mean, there's people out there that just want to see bad movies and get a kick out of them and laugh at them. So, I mean, I'm not advocating laughing at. It's tough because these people, these indie guys really put their heart and soul into these movies and really, really try to put out a decent product. So I know that this guy's not out here trying to make a bad movie.
Yeah.
Just sometimes that's how it goes. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You said he has gone on to make other films like in the late 2000s?
I think Frat House Massacre came out a couple years after this did. I think it came out around 2007, 2008, somewhere around, which was right at the verge of that resurgence of slasher films again. So that was kind of like an early offsetter. And that movie's really, really good, man. The only problem with that movie is that its length. It's a little long, and it needs to be shortened a little bit. It's a tad bit long, but they cut out a couple scenes here and there. They could have got it to probably under 90 minutes. I think it would have been better. It was like 117 minutes or something like that. It's really long. Yeah, that really hit. That really hurts it.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a good premise, and the kills are, from what I remember, pretty damn decent in that movie. So the movie's more mean. It's got a mean streak to it too, which I kind of like.
Is it on? Is it on any kind of sites like Tubi or anything like that?
This one or Frat House Massacre?
Yeah, that one that you're watching.
The one I was watching, I don't know if it's readily available on Tubi. I didn't see it because I pulled it from my my shelf. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did check it out on. I think it's on. It might actually be on Tubi. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure this DVD is like super cheap too. If anyone wanted to really, really see it, they can pick it up for next to nothing. So
yeah,
but
definitely.
I'm sorry, man. It just sucked the wind out of your sails, dude.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I wanted to talk about a really, really fun flick, but I mean, aside from a couple laughs, this one was just kind of a chore to get through.
Same for me. Yeah, that's the way I felt watching it. I was like, I'm ready for this to be over with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully our next roulette episode will have 2 bangers.
I'm sure, or we'll find 2 more that, or we'll find 2 that we really just fucking hate, and make it really interesting for the people out there, the
Yeah.
listeners. I mean, I'm not too, I don't shit on a lot of movies, but honestly, we haven't seen too many bad ones.
Mhm.
Or we haven't covered too many bad ones. So,
That's why I'm watching these like titles that you would never hear of,
well, I'm kind of watching titles like this too because I'm looking for like a little gem, something I can
Mhm.
kind of bring to the table. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't expect anything out of this. I was thoroughly surprised by what I got. So, and unfortunately, it's just sometimes you gotta dig through some turds to find that diamond.
Mhm. Yeah.
They're few and far between.
They're there.
They are there though. It's worth looking. I will
They're
tell you
there.
that. Because when you find it, you're like, holy shit, that sticks with you, and you remember that title, and you remember that movie, and you
Mhm.
have it on your repeat. Like you'll put it on a lot and check it out a lot, and it sticks with you. So
Yep.
Billy Club's like that for me. Fucking love Billy Club.
Hereditary's like that for me.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking more slasher films, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, films in general, yeah, definitely.
But yeah. Well, got anything else you want to add?
No, I think I covered just about all I needed to with that one.
Right on. Well, are you ready to land it?
Sure.
Okay. Well, folks, we appreciate you watching our review on Party Line and Camp Slaughter. We
Slaughter.
hope that you enjoyed our reviews. We hope that we didn't ruin things for you. Uh, but we hope that you go watch the film and then come back to us, or listen to the review and completely go, hell no, I'm not going to do that, because these are 2-star rating films.
Probably going to be the case, yeah.
um, I would say if you want to check out Party Line, I mean, just watch it for the 80s dancing alone. Fucking hilarious. And the bum, excuse me, the homeless man.
Yeah. On the bum.
Or the bum.
Do not call him a bum.
But yeah, we hope that you like, share, and subscribe this episode. And folks, let us know if you've watched these. What's your thoughts on them? Would love to hear from you guys in the comments,
Really love
and
to hear on these.
definitely we want to hear some feedback. Have you guys seen these? What's your thoughts? Are they complete shit to you, or are they gold to you? Let us know. At the end of the day, this is just our opinions.
Oh yeah.
So, but with that, folks, make sure you head over to our Facebook group as well. I haven't plugged that in a minute. It is a closed group, so make sure that you come and ask, and we'll let you in and just join in on the conversation and the fun. Here lately, I've been posting some pretty funny horror-related memes. Pretty funny, but definitely
like
come check it out. We have a good time in there.
Yeah, we really do, man. It's so close knit and tight in there, and it's just we'd like to expand that family and have more people join in and have a good time discussing things with us and talking about films. And I do occasionally will throw out codes for movies that I pick up in there. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to check it out, by all means, come join the group and possibly get some codes. Like I said, I try to throw them out every chance I get if I pick up something new, because I don't use them, and I just don't want them to go to waste. So I'd rather give back to our listeners and our supporters and make you guys happy, get you interested in checking out some different newer films. I mean, like I said, these are all brand new films. So I think I put out a code for Scream 5 not too long ago. So that was pretty cool. And somebody was able to pick that up and check that out. So, I mean, I'm going to keep doing that as much as I can when I'm picking up some new stuff. You guys will be the first ones to get it. So, But other than that, yeah, join in on the discussions. Like I said, we talk about all kinds of horror, newer horror, retro horror. We discuss it and talk about it all. So
Definitely.
it's nothing is off limits when it comes to the horror.
No. Well, with that, folks. Later.
Later, guys.